burden. That's what it is. I call it the superwoman complex, which is basically my mom, which was like she had to do all the domestic work and then also had to be a full-time worker, right? Because my parents wanted both incomes. And like, no knock on my dad, he's great. He also supported us a lot and I love him very much. But he didn't have as much of the double burden as my mom did. So she would be like taking care of the kids and taking care of the house and doing all the unpaid domestic work, and as well as working full time, right? So that's what we call the double burden. And so when we look at educational attainment being lower, it's because women have the societal pressure to fulfill the first part of that burden, which is domestic unpaid work, before they are able to become, any economic value. So, educational attainment is going to be lower than girls because girls aren't considered valuable economically as workers in society, which is really unfortunate. Obviously, this is changing. We're making changes and movements in regards to this, but worldwide, that's a big problem. And then that intersects with the fact that our world simply is not created for women or for girls. How far away is this school? Is it safe for girls to pass through? Do girls have to pass through like an area full of men that make them uncomfortable? Is it a straight road to the school? Do they have to go in pairs? Are they worried about their body when they're going to school? Are they worried that they are going to be raped or humiliated or sexually assaulted on their way to school or sexually harassed on their way to school? All of these things kind of put impediments in place. Little things that we don't even think about, like where are bathrooms placed? Do they need to have a buddy system? All of these things work within how girls are accessing education. And if girls are expected, because many times the work that the women are doing is also passed on to the girls, right? So girls have to complete their chores or their household work before they can go to school anyways, right? So educational attainment for girls worldwide is definitely going to be lower because we don't value girls as economically valuable in that way as workers in our world. And the fact that where schools are placed and how schools are taught and whether or not girls are in the curriculum, all of those things are just more and more barriers to attainment. So in Canada, it can be seen as simple as like all the scientists that you ever see are men, and they're generally white men. So all of, my racialized girls are like, well, am I going to be a doctor? You know what I mean? Am I going to be the one to be creating these things? So in Canada or Western countries, representation is super important. But in other countries, it's like, how are we even viewing girls in the first place, right? Are they sexual objects that have to perform a domestic role all the time? Or are they people? Are they humans with dignity and accessibility to being innovative participants in society, right? How are you going to view a girl is really how it depends. And if we're viewing girls in a way that is dehumanizing and strips them of their dignity, then global attainment is going to be low.
Yeah, no, I think definitely as